Now, she did, like I said, multiple opponents bring up the tax rates. And one of her unhinged rantings, she decided to go on a tirade about the streetcar. She said the streetcar cannot be stopped because her opponent, Mike McDonald, one of his central issues is the streetcar. And you know what? That's smart politics. You take an issue that everybody's pissed off about. It's like that's very unpopular, that the other side is a big cheerleader of, and you throw it in their face over and over and over again. That's what Donald Trump did. We talk about the 80-20 rule on this show all the time. Donald Trump did that, and he's still doing it. He took the trans kids and, men playing women's sports issues and made the Democrats defend something that he knew was wildly unpopular to the general public. He took the horrible immigration policies. He's now making them defend government waste. Selling us out to other countries. It's the 80-20 rule. McDonald's done that. He's taken an issue that's wildly unpopular in the streetcar and stapled it to his opponent. Said, she's the streetcar mayor. She's the streetcar mayor. Now, Stothert said very angrily, I don't think I can replicate. I'm serious, guys. I don't think I can replicate the bitterness in this old hag's voice if I try. It's that bad. Just rage pouring out of her. I mean, I'm not going to say it. But here's what she claimed when she said the streetcar cannot be stopped. She said there's 19 legal contracts that have been signed, would lead to lawsuits against the city and damage our bond rating, and the funding would be thrown onto the taxpayers. So basically, Mayor Stothert's message here is, I was irresponsible and negotiated the city into a bunch of one-sided contracts for something that nobody even wanted, knowing good and well I didn't have the authority, that nobody even wanted. Well, let me rephrase that. Her message was, I was irresponsible and negotiated the city into a bunch of one-sided contracts for something nobody even wanted, then promised people a vote on it, knowing good and well I didn't have the authority to do that. Vote for me. That's the Stothert special right there. Because here's the thing, guys. On this streetcar, when she claims that we're not going to pay for it, she says private developers are going to pay for it. Well, yes, maybe private developers, let's say for argument's sake, and I haven't seen the contracts, but let's say for argument's sake that private developers are funding the whole streetcar. Let's just say for argument's sake that they are. The whole construction of the streetcar. Those private developers aren't going to keep pouring money into this 150-year-old antiquated technology after it's been built. Who do you think gets footed with the bill on that? Us, the taxpayers. So it's another half-truth corporate response that she knows. By the time it comes to pay the piper on the maintenance for this thing, she's going to be long gone and out of office. So she's lied to you when she said you could vote on it. Because she said McDonald, which is something I've said on this show and I've made loud and clear on social media, McDonald pointed out, hey, you said in 2017, by the way, during an election year, crazy how she all of a sudden stops being Chancellor Palpatine every time an election year rolls around.
I am the Senate.
But he said, hey, you said in 2017 that people could vote on this. And she ignored it and then accidentally circled back to it, saying the mayor doesn't have the authority to bring something like a streetcar that's been approved by the city council to a vote. Only the city council can do that. Okay. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Why would you promise something like that? She didn't deny promising it. She ignored when he said, hey, you promised people this. She just said the mayor can't do that. So one of two things happened. You promised that with absolutely no intention to ever follow through on it, or you promised that without actually looking into whether or not that was a promise that you could keep. Both of those in the private sector will get you in some shit, Mayor Stothert. But since you're a public sector parasite that hasn't had a real job in God knows how long, you can just rely on the short 24-hour news cycle to glide you over the finish line and hope everybody forgets about it. Well, we're not going to let you forget about it on this show. We're going to bring that up over and over and over again. So she's lied to you when she said you could vote on it. She lied to you about how much it would cost. She lied to you about how long it would take to complete. But hey, she's totally telling you the truth when she says they aren't going to raise your taxes to pay for it. You should trust her on that one. It's not like she, ran her entire initial campaign back in 2013 on getting rid of the restaurant tax, and then the moment she took office, expanded and increased it. It's not like she did. Oh, no, she did do that. So it's almost like there's a track record with this woman making empty promises and not only not following through on them, turning around and doing the outright opposite of what she promised. Believe me, we saw it with the restaurant tax in 2013. We saw it with the streetcar vote in 2017. We're going to see it again with the you're not going to get your taxes raised to pay for the streetcar thing. This is going to be another one of her lies that she turns around and not only doesn't follow through on, but outright does the opposite. Don't be surprised if you see them jack our taxes up under her rule. Not 4 years later when she's retired. Under her watch. Don't be surprised if you see them jack our taxes up to pay for this crap. And here's my thing on the contracts. Yes, there are contracts. Like I said, I haven't seen the contracts. I don't know what they say. But here's what I do know about contracts, and what I do know is someone who has gotten himself out of a really bad personal financial situation. Making one bad financial decision does not justify anybody continuing to make additional bad financial decisions. You don't get to go, well, I'm already $5,000 in credit card debt. What's another 3? Let's go out to the bar and go on vacation next month. You don't get to do that. I mean, you do, but there's going to be consequences for it. It's a bad idea. You go, you know what? I really fucked myself on this credit card thing. I'm going to stop going out. I'm going to get a second job, and I'm going to bust ass until I pay this off. And then I'm going to chop the credit card up and learn from my mistake and not do it again. She's not doing that. So yes, there are contracts, but here's the reality is you can get out of contracts. Now, you may have to pay your way out of contracts, but if you pay these companies what they're owed, believe me, they're not going to throw a big fit about it. They're not. It'll suck for a little bit, but they're not going to throw a big fuss about it. And in a lot of cases, since they're not going to have to dedicate the manpower and labor, you can negotiate these contracts to something lower, just like with anything else. And most contracts have clauses in them that say if you want to do an early out, there's a termination that, yeah, it sucks to pay it and you're not going to get the full thing that you signed up for. But at the end of the day, it's still better than having to pay for the full thing after you decided it really wasn't for you anymore. You can do that with literally anything. Like, let's say you get an apartment and you move into the apartment, you live there for it's a 12-month lease. You live there for 2 months and you go, this place sucks. I don't like it. It's too far away from everything. The parking lot is full of chuck holes. They won't fix it. The lock on my door is broken. It's drafty in here. It smells funny. My neighbor's a lunatic. Nothing that you could take to a court and say, I'm out of this lease. They violated their end of it. But the place just sucks and you regret signing up to move in there. There's a clause on that lease more often than not that says you can pay a fee, a rate, usually like 2 or 3 months rent, and absolve yourself of that apartment lease. It's not ideal. It's not fun, but you don't have to live there for the next 10 months, and you don't have to pay the next 10 months rent. You still got to pay something because you did sign a contract, but there's an out to it. Something tells me they've got clauses in these 19 legal contracts for this streetcar that are similar to that. If not, If not, realize what that means. That means that a tenant paying $1,500 a month on rent in an apartment who wields virtually no negotiation power has somehow managed to negotiate better terms than the mayor of the city of Omaha has for us. That alone should be reason to kick her out. Now, maybe the streetcar is a done deal. Maybe it is. But she's not innocent of this. And I understand the city council passed it. It wasn't like an executive order. I get that. But she was the biggest cheerleader for this thing in the world, literally and figuratively. She is freakishly tall. But basically, she sold us all down the river on something we didn't want after she lied to us time and time again about it. So even if the streetcar is a done deal and there's no way to get rid of it, this is someone who deserves to pay politically for what they have done. This is someone, we need to send a message as a city that, hey, you don't get to just take advantage of us and screw us over like this. If you go into work and you do all kinds of damage one way or another and cost the company a bunch of money, they're not going to get that money back. But what they are going to do is fire you. They're going to fire you for two reasons. Number one, you deserve to lose your job because you just screwed the whole company over. Number two, they need to set an example that both your coworkers and the next guy who takes your job, or woman, or they, them, isn't going to be able to come in and screw around with them the same way you did. There's your Stothert screw-up report on the Omaha mayoral debate. Man, I have opinions on that one, don't I? Damn. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to click the link in the description to get the full episode on Rumble. If you prefer to listen along, you could actually get us on Spotify, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio. You can also go to www.outlawstreamers.com to learn more about not just my show, but tons of other great shows and all the exciting projects they have coming up. Follow my socials at Caleb Isn't Funny on Twitter and Instagram, at Caleb Salvatore Comedy on the Chinese Spy app that is TikTok, and be sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thanks, and we'll see you every Saturday for brand new episodes of That's Based. Peace.